Hey there again. Well, I'm feeling a little bit better. Thought it was still a little scratchy. I think I damaged my throat a little bit. I have I developed what they call tonsil stones. And sometimes they get in there and they cause me to cough a whole lot. And the only way to get them out is to take something back there and probe them out. And kind of jammed up one of my tonsils. Poked it quite a bit. Yeah, nice motion, isn't it? So, not a big of negative response as I thought that I would get from people about my video yesterday, which it took a couple of days last time for my fucking high school video to really have an impact on people, where they were contacting me over Facebook and stuff. So I give that a little bit of time to settle in. Unfortunately for me, I'm going to tell a little story. Show you the book here. It's convenient bookshelves right there. Scott Adams, Stick to Drawing Comics, Monkey Brain. Oddly enough, found it at the Dollar Tree. I can't put it back on the shelf. Found it at the Dollar Tree for $1. I'm like, well, I like Dilbert comics. And so I decided, fuck, it's $1. Might as well get it. And the sad part about it is I would have to say it's the first book that I read of anybody's other than fiction, and it's pretty much the first. Well, I've read other books in fiction. I like fiction. I stick with fiction. I like zombies and stuff like that. But I kind of consider it the first intellectual type book I've ever read, even though when you tell people you've read the Dilbert guy's book and you think it was very intellectually stimulating, they go, yeah, which shows how much a lot of people think. But he posed a question that I never really gave any inkling of a thought to, and this was about a little less than a year ago. I posed a question in it: if free will exists. Now, he stated, at least at the time of the writing, I don't know if other people's views change as much as my views. Doesn't seem that way. But, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt that their views can change. So at the time of the writing, he said he did not believe that free will existed. And stupid me, I didn't think, well, I should look further into this using the internet. Instead, I would go back and I would read the passage, how he would describe it, and then I would spend my lunch breaks at Walmart just thinking about it. While I was stocking shelves, I was thinking about this question, and I went back and forth on it. I was like, it's true, no, it's not true, it's true, it's not true. And then I was taking a shower one day, and I was thinking of a small-scale experiment that one could do, and I don't want to get all into it, on proving free will, and thus it was settled for me. I didn't even do the experiment. Would have costed some money, and I'm very poor. But I was excited. I went to my wife. I was like, hey, guess what? You know how I've been bugging myself about free will? And she's like, for the last 3 or 4 months. And I was like, yes! Because it was literally something that was on my mind from the moment I would wake up to the moment I went to sleep. All other things I put on hold. And it was strange. And the dreams I had during this time were so strange because I was so fixated on it. And so I was like, okay, well, I've proven it for myself. That's what matters. I have my answer. And because I don't think I can convince anybody else. I think I'm a very horrible convincer of anything. Um, I'm not very well educated. I'm not that intelligent. I should have been held back a couple of grades in school, in my personal belief, but thanks to No Child Left Behind, I was pushed forward. And what education I have now is what I've gathered in the little bit of time I've been going to college and self-taught. Um, so, anyways, yeah, I was like, okay, that's it. And it lingered a little bit, are you sure this is, and then finally, it faded away, and I got on and finished the book. And of course, it would come up later on in the book, but I had my answer, and I was fine with that, and he has his answer, and I'm fine with that, because, people have opposing views. I can still read and enjoy the book, and I recommend the book to all kinds of people if they can find a copy of it. It's a very fun read. It brings up a lot of good points throughout it. And then yesterday, I want to say, maybe it was the day before yesterday, watching Big Think, or Think Big. Oh, I can't think of it right now. No pun intended. On YouTube. And I'm horrible with names. A man speaking on the matter of free will. And I thought he was saying that free will existed. And he was using almost a similar concept, except a little bit larger scale than what I was going off of. And I was like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But then I read the transcript of it, and he's not for it. At least that's what I'm gathering now. It's like, well, that's strange. So I've been spending the last couple of hours scouring the internet, since now I'm using some meager attempt of intelligence to do so. And, I find that there's two fields. There was always two fields, and I knew there was two fields. But I'm still, and if you can tell, I could be persuaded if enough information is given to me. But I really don't want to be, because I believe that would be a very bland life, to know that everything that I'm doing is already predetermined. I like to think that there is a small bit of free will, and if it is a bit of ignorance I must leave myself living in for the rest of my life, it's not the type of ignorance that I would regret at the end. I think the type of ignorance I would regret at the end is spending my life worrying about, what some big thing in the sky would think of me, and then, be on deathbed and be like, man, I wish there was so much more I would have done with my life, but I was too scared. But with the concept of free will, I'm gonna agree with the ones that go with quantum. They go to quantum physics with it, and there's the random variables there. One other thing, they say a lot of them saying that if you believe that you have free will, you might as well say that you have a soul. Well, I don't believe in the soul either, but I do believe in consciousness. And, unless I find something else out in my developmental psychology, or whenever I take another psychology class, something opposing the consciousness, I do believe thus far, what I've understood is that there is, yes, the pre-processes of the mind, but again, I'm very uneducated, but I'm just piecing shit together. You know, I could have easily called this channel the Average Atheist, because I feel as if I'm the average person. I'm not highly intelligent, not well educated, and I'm piecing things together as I go along. Because you have to understand, since I realized I was an adult and I could come out and experience life, it's like being a child and having all this opened up to me. But at the same time, I have this heart condition that's killing me, so I'm excited about everything, and I want to get all the knowledge in before darkness, you know? So, what I come to is I've lost my place. That's what I've come to, is I've done that stupid thing that I do where I sidetrack my own self, and I have to think, and I'm talking to take up time to try to get back to my thought. But no, I don't believe in a soul, but I do believe that maybe people who are more well thought, they put more thought into what they think. And I've watched the video about the one guy who believed in free will, and then they put him in a machine, and they told him that they were able to see what he was going to do 6 seconds ahead of time. Maybe it's 8 seconds. I'm going to stick with 6, because I'm pretty sure it's 6. Well, yeah, that would seem obvious to me, because isn't it before you make a decision? Isn't there sometimes when you just have that, I don't know how to describe it. I've thought about it all my life, can I confuse my own self? And this is before, any concept of free will not existing ever came into my mind. Where I'd be like, okay, I'm going to raise my right hand. Oh, well, I meant to say finger, but I raised my left finger. Does that confuse me? And then, when was that determined? Probably back when I thought about doing that right there, before I even did it. But it doesn't matter how much you think ahead, because if you think about it, when you take into concept the fact that what we live in is the past, okay, we live in the past, we're going to have to be thinking ahead to the future at some level, so the brain can function, because it would make no sense. And I understand that there's also experiments, even in the video from Vsauce that I posted, that the brain doesn't perceive things straight ahead, because it had that flashing light in a circle. You stare at the cross, there's a circle, and in the middle of the circle it would flash, and most subjects said they saw, a circle like this, and when it flashed, it was just right behind it, like it was trailing behind, which, for the life of me, I can't get my eyes to do that. I've even blown the video up full screen, and it still won't do that. I see it flash right in the center, right in the center, right in the center, right in the center. But, I don't know, maybe something's wrong with me. And when they reverse it, people see it how, it should be, not what they predicted. And I'm making this sound way more complicated than what it is. You can check my last video and go watch it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, at some level, the brain has to be functioning a little bit before what we see. I'm losing track of what I'm trying to say. In my opinion, if what we're seeing is 80 milliseconds in the past, our brain has to be acting forward in time. It has to be acting somewhere close to 80 seconds before what we see comes into existence. for us. I don't know. I'm trying to explain it, and I have a grasp of it, but I don't have all the knowledge for it. And and you hear stories about back on free will. I won't try to go into stuff I don't quite understand. I'm gonna have to look up more on it because I don't want to run the risk that someone's actually going to take what I say to heart and then run out and say it and believe it if I'm wrong. Because like I said, I change my mind. I'll change my views when the proof and the evidence is there. Well, I know a lot of people don't. So, like, okay, I was taking medicine for being sick, and I could tell something was wrong. I didn't feel like me. In fact, I was hearing stuff, having thoughts that I shouldn't have been having, like to stop the hearing, it would be best to bash my head in. But I didn't act on these, and I had control over the situation. I knew that what I was hearing wasn't real, wasn't there, and it annoyed me that my body was doing that to me. So, does that mean that on some level that's where the free will exists? That our brains process it, and then there's one last filter it goes through? I don't know. It's free will. It's excuse me. People associate free will with religion, and people associate predetermination with religion. And if predetermination exists, then how can we rule out that there's the possibility of clairvoyants who, not that I'm not saying speak to the dead or anything like that, but who see into the future. If you're believing in predestination, then there's a set rules for everything, and then all it would take was a mind so mathematically in tune with the world and all possibilities that they could plausibly foresee all possibilities. And I don't see that happening. And I don't know. I'm just a dumb man struggling to understand life. And it's a beautiful fucking thing, isn't it? It may confuse the shit out of you and me and everyone else, but it's beautiful, isn't it? Just to know that there's these questions and there is so many possible answers, and then even then, once we have the answers, they could be wrong. They could be wrong. We could be wrong about everything. But that's the beauty of it. We could be right, we could be wrong. We believe we're right, but at one time people believed the world was flat. And I'm not trying to be poetic or anything, it's just, I find it beautiful in that sense. All the accumulated knowledge that we have on physics and everything, and quantum theory and string theory, it's stuff that's only, it's an accumulation, excuse me, of thousands of years, but it's also made large advancements in the last few hundred years. And when we see things like that, there's room for error. It always seems. So, and I'm not saying, it's going to all be proven wrong. I'm just saying, I believe what I believe, and you believe what you believe, and I'm going to change my views to see fit what is most true. I believe I'm a free will atheist who's currently ill and has a cough and has talked possibly a little bit too long and has torn a lesion in my throat open because I can feel the blood trickling down the back of my throat. It's very annoying. And, you know, yeah. So, let me know. What do you think about free will? I mean, have you ever given thought to it? Have you ever looked into the things that I've mentioned in the video? If any of it made sense about the fact that it's processed in your brain seconds prior to your actions. You know, sorry. Let me know. Think I'm wrong? Let me know. Agree with me? Let me know. It's just me rambling my thoughts off to a camera, posting on YouTube. Get ready to go get me some dinner. Go see my wife. Take her computer.